This is Human Warnings. This will be a ramble, and if you don't like the deep end, then go back to the shallow end. Review of The Boys. I almost don't want to do this because I don't think this show's worth watching, let alone reviewing. It was terrible. The main reason I gave this show a chance was because that YouTuber, Grace Randolph, said it was incredible, like some of the best stuff she'd ever seen, ever. So then I went to IMDb and it had like a 9.5 or something. And I'm always in need of a great TV show, so I got all excited and I was expecting something incredible. I don't think I'll never watch her channel again after watching The Boys. And now I don't regret having not watched Preacher, which was also done by Seth Rogen, because obviously this is just crap. It was kind of cool that it was shot in Toronto because I used to live like next door to like one of the major set pieces. They shot their headquarters at Roy Thompson Hall, which was next door to where I used to live. So it's really cool and trippy seeing basically my backyard being the main feature of the whole show. Some details about the show. Okay. When they played the song Barracuda, I got worried because that song is so stereotypical now. Like it must have been on like 10 movies by now, and I'm just getting sick of hearing the same songs again and again because they're hip right now or something. They also play Cherry Bomb by that girl group, The Runaways. Cherry Bomb, they already played that in Guardians of the Galaxy. They featured it in that movie. Like it's the playlist. It's just, I'm so sick of hearing the same songs again and again. It's like the popular TV show playlist. If you got a popular TV show, play Barracuda and Cherry Bomb, or Crimson and Clover, or Welcome to the Jungle. Like, there's a billion songs out there. Why are they picking the same ones? Why? Because they're catering to the masses. And the season ends with the song Sleepwalking, or Sleepwalk. I forget who sings it, but who played it. It's an instrumental song. But again, that one has been done so many times. It's just cliche. Oh, and Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing by Chris Isaak. That one too. Like, fuck. I think after Stanley Kubrick used that song for his commercial for Eyes Wide Shut, I think you should just like say hands off that song. I would say the only good thing about the show was the Aquaman character, because he's like a satire of Aquaman, how he's like in love with dolphins and whatnot. But even that, it's like, yeah, it's funny, but it's not that funny. It's not worth watching funny. The conceit of the show is that, well, if in real life, if there were superheroes, they would all be corrupt. And so we're going to see superheroes if they were all assholes. But even that gets undermined because they change it so that some of them have hearts and they got their weaknesses. You know, they're not all bad. So they don't even stick with the cool concept, because it's a pretty cool concept for a story. But alas, they don't follow that through. So much for that. So then it's like, okay, so that's not a reason. The biggest reason to watch the show is now gone. There's a terrible part in episode 2 where it's basically they're copying like the second episode of Breaking Bad. You know, when they had that guy in the basement. I forget what his name was. He had a nickname, Eyeball or something. Crazy 8. And they had to decide whether to let him live or kill him or not. And they basically just copied that in episode 2. And I'm sorry, you can't copy Breaking Bad and pass it off as good material. And even if they weren't copying it and it was a coincidence, somebody should have told them it's already been done before in Breaking Bad, and they should have said, okay, we shouldn't do that. The main character is the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, and I couldn't stop looking at him. I'm like, oh, he's got Dennis Quaid's nose. Oh wait, he's got Meg Ryan's nose. Oh wait, he's got it's like both of their noses had a baby nose, and the baby nose looks like both of their noses. I would give it like a 6 out of 10 at the most. It's better than the Umbrella Academy, that's for sure, but not by much. And Umbrella Academy was copying all the cool shows, like Legion and probably Breaking Bad. Every show is copying that these days. So that's it for the review, but some backstory. The Boys, was created by the same guy that created Preacher, and Seth Rogen produced the TV show Preacher and The Boys. So he's obviously a fan of this. I think his name's Enos, the creator. And it's funny because like 4 years ago, they lent me a copy of The Boys and Preacher. And I read the first issue of each of them. And I was like, I don't like this. This is crap. So I guess it really is crap then. I mean, and I think the actual creator of the comic book was involved in this TV show. So I really do think the comic must have been crap. I mean, I've been having a lot of cowardice lately about working on my own book story that I'm writing. And I thought watching this might help me give me ideas for like how to construct a plot line better, or ideas for constructing plot lines. It didn't at all. But what it did help me with is, well, I can't write something this bad. So it makes me, now I've got courage because I know I can't do it this bad. And for somebody who's not a comic book fan and has never heard of The Boys before, I guess you could just say, think of Seth Rogen in the typical comedy that he's in. And that's a pretty good, pretty analogous to the quality of this show. It's like, imagine if Seth Rogen made a comic book TV show. Well, this is what you'd get. It's like The Dark Knight meets The 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I do like Seth Rogen, some of his movies. He's hit or miss, just like Will Ferrell. This Is the End was pretty cool. But ultimately, his movies are forgettable. They will not withstand the test of time. They're not the kind of movies you would recommend to anybody. You just watch them to pass the time. And this is exactly what this thing is. If they make a season 2, if this thing survives to season 2, I won't watch it, that's for sure. I didn't like any of the characters, except for maybe the Aquaman. And the girl, the blonde, she plays something, I forget her. See, I don't even remember. I just finished watching 8 hours of the show, and I don't even remember any of their names, because that's how little they stood out. The blonde, the one on the left in the picture, she's called like Dazzler or something. She's the only character, well, the only actor I'd say that stood out, where I would like want to see her in future TV shows or movies, because she's gorgeous and she plays the role of the innocent, good-hearted character very, very well. Every other character, though, every other actor, I would never want to see them again. I didn't enjoy their presence on the screen. When I read the first issue of The Boys 4 years ago and Preacher, one of the things that stood out to me and turned me off especially was how nasty and negative they were. Like, Preacher has like a character who shot himself in the head to try to be like Kurt Cobain, but he didn't die, so now he's deformed. That's like a main character on the show. And this one, in The Boys, the original comic book, I think, all of them make the girl on the left the gangbanger, and it's really nasty and dirty. They didn't do that on the TV show for obvious reasons, but those two comic books were just so nasty. I wouldn't even say negative, just nasty. Despicable. And I don't really shy away from negative things. I like horror movies, but this was just, it was almost soulless. And I was a little bit encouraged by the fact that the show has it can be lighthearted. It's not so nasty. Because I guess Seth Rogen added humor, or maybe there was humor, I just didn't get to it in the comics. But all in all, it still is a nasty story. Like, there is no kind of like heart to it, I guess, except for the girl, the blonde on the left. She's the only heart to the show. And she does shine, that character. But it's not enough to carry the whole idea forward. It's a despicable idea. A depressing story. Contrast this with the works of Alan Moore, who made Watchmen and V for Vendetta. His books, those are the only two that I know about, and I only saw the movies. But those stories, they deal with subject matter that is just as nasty, But it isn't as depressing because I think it's because those stories, V for Vendetta and Watchmen, have more of a point to them. Whereas this one is just like, oh, what if superheroes were corrupt? And then that just goes with that. But there's no deep thoughts. They haven't really worked out the idea at all, really. It's just, let's just go with that. And that's it. So that's it for The Boys. It's depressing. Stranger Things Season 3 was pretty shit. This one is worse. And Legion Season 3 is the only thing that I'm really going to be watching. Episode 5 comes out next on Monday. And Season 3 of Legion is not as good as Season 2, which was not as good as Season 1. And that's too bad. And then after that, I've got really no TV shows to watch, and I hope there's no more good ones, or okay ones, because I'm sick of wasting my time on this crap. But in comparison, I would say that this show was like a 5.5 out of 10. Stranger Things Season 3 was like a 6. Legion Season 3 is like a 7 or a 6.5. No, maybe a 7. I don't know. Yeah, 6.75. If you like gays, click like. If you like blacks, comment. If you like women, click notification bell. If you like gay women, subscribe. And if you like gay black women, Patreon, Human Warnings, give me money.